Good afternoon. This is Dr. Bill White again, and I'm with the American Orthodontic Society, and I'd like to talk a little bit about uprighting teeth and how we came up with the method of uprighting teeth. And we've kind of perfected it a little bit through the years, and I've never found a tooth that we couldn't upright, even if you had it laying flat down, or I believe you could upright it if the crown was actually going down. If you could just get to a part of the tooth, the crown, you have to get on the side of it and do it, and I'll explain that a little bit better during this video. We had a real nice young lady. This was back in the early 70s, I think. I forget just exactly. Maybe it'll show up on her models or something, the date that we started it. And so I'll just go ahead and show you. This is a real nice young lady, and we had extracted some teeth to bring the profile back in a good, not a whole lot, just a little bit. And we reduced the tooth structure and let the bite close down just slightly. And we got through with the case, and we had all kind of room back in the back for the wisdom teeth. And she had just plenty of room there to put the wisdom teeth in. But her lower wisdom teeth were tilted forward. The one on the right side was really tilted over. It was almost like this. And so we raised that tooth up, and it hit the one above, of course, and it kicks it down. And well, I see on the date here, it was 1973. So this is several years ago. That's about 40 or something. I won't figure it up right now, about 43 or 45, something in that area. Now, this young lady was exposed to excess fluoride in the water. And so you'll notice that her teeth have this flurosis and have this, if you get a whole lot of it, you'll get these brown spots in your teeth, or the teeth have a kind of an opaque, white looking appearance, but they just don't decay very much. And you see that out in certain places in West Texas, especially. They'll have some places I've seen people with big brown spots all around over their teeth, and it looks pretty bad, and it's hard to get any kind of bleaching to do anything at all with it, because it's deposited when the enamel was deposited on the person. If they grow up in that type of situation, usually if you're out in some town and then you drink the water after the teeth are pretty much formed, which gives you a lot of resistance to decay, but doesn't discolor your teeth quite like this. And people like this may have 5 or 6 or 10 times more fluoride in there than you would put in the water. So she had quite a bit of this fluoride in the water, and we took some teeth out and we straightened the teeth up and had them all lined up. I won't take just regular orthodontics, and this we use those little clips that go through the teeth, to separate them. And she had, even though she had all this fluoride, she had several cavities. So it must have got down in the crevice of the occlusal surface or something. But anyway, I forget, I don't remember doing any of the fillings or anything, but this was back, I had just gone into nothing but orthodontics in 1970. All right, we straightened all this out, and this was before we had brackets, before we had good bonding material, and it was tough to bond to these teeth. You etched them and everything, but when we got around to putting brackets on these teeth that had so much fluoride in them, it was pretty tough to get them to stay. Now, bands would stay on the teeth all right. So anyway, just a simple lining the teeth up here, and we close these gaps, and that's just regular orthodontics, which we show in so many cases. I don't want to take any time doing that. All right, we got around and just about to finish the young lady up, and I looked, and my goodness, we had a lot of jaw structure back here, and just all kind of room to put this wisdom tooth. And I hated to have her have that tooth extracted, but if you left it there and it's growing in this direction, it'll crowd the heck out of these teeth in here. And people think it doesn't, but I've had that crowded. My youngest son had it perfect, and tooth came in like that, and we didn't see it and didn't pay any attention to it. It just messed up that one side of his mouth. We took the teeth out on the other side and didn't do them on the that side where they had the wisdom teeth. So anyway, I thought, well, let's see if we can upright this tooth right here. Well, I didn't have anything to bond to the tooth except I could etch the tooth surface, and I etched the occlusal surface. It's got these grooves in it, and that's really good. And then I built a little spring that would go down in here. We bonded it here, and it went up and went over here on the side, and then we had this spring we built, and the wire coming off like this, and this was bonded on just as if you had stuck it on the side of the tooth. Now, if I'd had some good bonding area, of course, that's what we do now. We would just put a tube right here on this side and put build a little wire to come in and have a deal like that, and then you could pull it out here and you could raise it up and hook it to something over here, and then you could reach in here with a double optical plier, you know, with the this side and the round side, and mash that and make this wire go way down here, and it'll just take this tooth and push it right back out of that hole. And don't grind the tooth. If it runs into a tooth up above, it'll either push that one up or this one will go down, and just leave it alone, and it'll take the tooth and set it right up in there. And that's what we're going to do with this little tooth. And and it worked so well that as soon as bonding material came out and we could just go in here and bond a tube, that made it so much simpler. And I've seen some of the craziest things, people trying to get these teeth to come up, and all they'd have to do is bond a tube, get on the side of the tooth. And if you have to take electrosurge and uncover or expose the side, you need to be on the side of the tooth. And you just come out with a wire. The little wire we did, it was just, you can just make one loop, you know, and you activate it as much as you can. You got to try it. You got to put it in here and reach up over here and make a hook that's right behind the bracket, because as this comes out, this wire slides back. So if you hook it here, it's got to slide, or it's be able to slip down the arch wire here, and it pushes down on these teeth, and it'll take that tooth and push it up every time. And I've never found one you couldn't do. Even an ankylose tooth, you can go in and luxate it, or get some old surgeon or anybody. I'm not opposed to you luxating a tooth, and then just move it, start moving it, and you just be picking it up this way. It's not going to, take it out. It'll just move it up, and it'll push down and raise the tooth up above, and come right in. So let's watch this one go here. There it is from the top, and we're going to etch this part down in here and put a wire in there. Now, made a little wire, and I took a picture of it, and the wire came back, the picture came back in two pieces. This part right here went on this side, and of course back then we didn't, you had to take what you got, and we built this deal to go down in the tooth, come over here, and then it went down and went around like this, and this part was headed off out here. So we squeezed it together and tied it, and it's still going, this will be down, this will be coming this way. We still activate it and put it on top of the other brackets in there, and it just picked that tooth right up. And I said, then this is the way to do it. So here we bonded it in here. I took acrylic on the brush, and I put the liquid and then the powder, and the liquid and the powder, but made darn sure you didn't bond this tooth to this one in front of it, or it wouldn't have done a thing, see? All right, then I cut this wire. I brought this up and hooked it up here. If I'd cut it here, this wire would be going down into the cheek, see? So we brought it up here, and just, I had a hook on it. I don't know whether we hooked it or we just laid it in on top of the brackets, I think, and just tied it loosely so it could slide across these brackets. As this tooth goes up, this wire goes back, and this would slide down along these brackets right here. Now, okay, and here it is bonded in there, and then we're going to, I don't know whether we've cut it or not. I can't see it right there. But as soon as we cut that, boy, this thing took a little bend, in there, and it was putting pressure on that tooth to move it. And there it is from the top. And this is just the case. That's when we banded everything back. That's 1974. And here we are. And there that tooth is. Next time I got to the young lady back in, that tooth was setting up like that. And it hit the tooth above, and it lined it up with the rest of them. This one looks like it's pushed down. It may have pushed it some, but probably didn't depress it that much. And we came in and put separators and banded it, the rest of the teeth, and lined the thing up. But she had all kind of room back there for that wisdom tooth to come in, and I thought, well, that's a shame to have somebody take that out. So here we put a little brass wire separator. Used to use a lot of these. You put this soft brass wire between the teeth and then twist it down pretty hard, and it puts a pressure on them, separates it, and we put a band on that tooth that was tilted over at least 45 or more degrees, and put it right in there. And then I think we ended up banding the other tooth in front of it. And let me see what we did at the end of it. Yeah, they're all three banded teeth in there. Now the one over here, we didn't have to do very much, but it took me longer to do this one, and it didn't turn out as good as the one that was worse over here that we put the little uprighting spring in. But we were able to save all of her wisdom teeth because we had taken out the bicuspids in here. We used this little wire to kind of bring the teeth in on the side, kind of control the arch form. We put in this, and this was back in the early 70s, and we put that tooth in place, and there's a pretty good picture of it from the side. And she had all kind of room back there after we extracted one tooth. So whenever we took a bicuspid out, we tried desperately to save the wisdom tooth if we possibly could, or we tried to save wisdom teeth even if you didn't take them out, if they had anything like enough room to bring the teeth in. All right, here we took the bands off, and then we had to wear a rubber band from molar to molar and have them chew gum and everything. And you just hope that they ended up good. Now, she's got some of these spots. They show up pretty good in that picture. Just a whole lot of fluoride in the water where she grew up. And you put a little pad and make a groove in it, and you run this elastic in that pad around there and close all the spaces. And then we put a retainer in or whatever. We try to close up any other space that we had. Brackets are so much better than the bands. And putting bands on, I mean, I had the calluses on my thumbs and fingers pushing those bands in. They cut into your tissue. This was before gloves too. And where you banded a bunch of cases, you might band a couple of cases a day or something, and man, I mean, your thumbs were forefingers and things where you had to push them down. You just got tougher than boots. The real thick tissue on your fingers like that. So here it is after we took that off, and we closed the space up, and you can see that tooth right up in here and this one over here. And we saved that wisdom tooth, and that was the method. She had upper wisdom teeth over here, so when this one came up, it had plenty. She had lost a tooth in here apparently, and this is slipped forward. It's not fitting just right on this left side of the mouth there. But anyway, we this one, we got it up right better than the one over here. We thought we would just separate it and push it back and it would come up, and it did, but it took us longer messing around with that one than this one to straighten it up over on the right side. So I'm going to push up here and we'll finish this up. And here she is, 1975, and the teeth are in. And this flurosis it really messed up some people. They had this crown their teeth. Now there that tooth is, I don't know what the date is on this. We use this tooth to close the space, and that's tooth setting up in there, and then her jaw's going on up. Got plenty of room for the wisdom tooth, and they're excellent teeth, so don't just throw them away for nothing. So that's the end of our little video, and maybe that'll help you see the other method now that we use for uprighting teeth. We've just a sure way. I have honestly never found a tooth that we couldn't upright, and that includes some ankylosed ones. I'm sure there's some out there you couldn't possibly break them loose or do anything, but the ones we found, we could just fracture just the ankylosed part where the tooth is actually grown to the bone a little bit, and you crack it loose and you can just keep it moving and it'll just set up in there. So I'm going to hush up, and I appreciate your watching, and we'll hope that you are able to do that, and I'm sure many of you have done it. So we'll stop this.